Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kirkpatrick podcast. It is your girl Vanessa, and I've got another current event that I really want to talk to y'all about. This one is going to feel really out of place if you know me, but super important to talk about, and that is the NFL draft. So fun fact about me is NFL draft day or draft weekend is actually one of my favorite weekends of the year and I love to watch because dreams are made. And that's just so beautiful to watch and to see people who have worked super hard and trained and did all of the things that they needed to land on that stage. It's just a beautiful thing to see. And I just think it's like the purest that you can see some of these folks that are, some of these guys that are getting drafted. And so I want to talk a little bit more about that because you know me and I love to mix pop culture and the world around us and learning. And so I kind of want to pick apart some things about the NFL and the draft. So first things first, when we talk about the draft, the interesting thing is that they are not just measuring one training that NFL player, that football player has gone through. They're watching multiple game tapes. They're watching, some of these guys have gone through the combine. I don't think everybody does, but I also watch All-American. And this is also where I'm getting some of my NFL facts. And I think it's kind of accurate, but I'm also could be wrong. So don't shoot the messenger here. Just go with me. They watch the combine. They go see them at practice. They interview them. They go through their family history. Okay. Their family history. They are not just looking at one specific thing when it comes to the selection of whether or not that's the person they want to bet on that is going to make an impact on their organization. Right. And what I think is so interesting is the fact that they look at things like mindset, culture, and the current culture of the organization and whether or not that person is going to be able to succeed and either enhance it or, fall into place. And if they don't draft them. When we think about our learning experiences, like we have to start to think of kind of the same thing, right? Like, we create these trainings without thinking about, is it going to be a fit or be transformative for our organization? We just create because that's the request that came in. That request had been fulfilled in about a million other different ways that would actually be more conducive and lead to actual results as opposed to just doing a training. If we think about it, a lot of people that come to us, they come to us and request training because that's all they know, right? Like they don't know the latest technology and the tools and these other ways that you could get the same outcome. And so that becomes part of the reason why training is prescribed as a solution. It's our bias. It's what we know. And so when we think about a training, right, and we think about this request, one of the questions we should be asking ourselves during intake is, how will this request fit into our organization? Will it fit? Is our organization the right organization for that request? Is it going to help us? Is it going to fall in line? Because not every training that you have has to completely transform the organization, right? Like there's also a threshold of that organizations can handle of transformation. And it's, we can't have not everything is going to be transformative. So there's also players that get picked. I mean, they don't get picked first and they're in that first round. They get picked a little bit later. There's players that aren't necessarily going to transform the team, but they're just going to fall in line and do well. Right. And that's also the same kind of, when we think about the declassifications of training, There's like the ones that we know are going to transform our organization and they're going to make a lot of impact. And there's ones that are just going to like fit in and help to support what it is that we're doing. And then there's ones that we are never going to get picked, right? Because they're just not going to do anything. And maybe we have to do them. So we have to pick them. We have to draft them. And they're like a you know, I don't know how many rounds. I'm not going to lie. I told you guys that the fact that I'm even talking about the draft feels very uncomfortable to me. One of those like late round draft picks, like maybe there's 6 rounds. Was Brady a 6th round pick? I should know this considering, let's Google this. Oh wait, I'll ask Siri. Hey Siri, what round was Tom Brady drafted in? 6th round. Okay, I was right. 6th round. Some of them are just going to be 6th round picks. And that's okay. We don't think they're going to do a ton. We might cut them. They might not stay. But they at least got picked. Because you never know. That training might surprise you. Like Tom Brady did. And so when we're looking at, you know, picking the right solution, are we drafting our solution based on the ability to change behavior and make folks ready to perform? Or are we drafting that solution because that's the pressure we got from the top and we have to do it? Or it's all that we know? So when we're thinking about, you know, performance and behavior, we have to think of it outside of just this one event. But how is this training and their solution going to fit in the entire ecosystem? And is the ecosystem going to be supportive of that solution? So the other thing is these players don't come in and get no support. Some of them get financial incentive. Some of them are given a home, some a car. Some are given a personal chef. But one thing they're all given is coaching, more practice time, some sort of onboarding expectation setting, and probably some better than others. I've never seen an NFL onboarding. However, I would love to see an NFL onboarding personally. They're given nutritionists, you know, they're given the physical therapist, they're given the cold plunge baths, they're given tools so they can elicit peak performance. We do not expect for these players to come in, even the most talented, and utilize just the training they received before they came in here as them going to be able to perform for our organization. We actually provide them with the tools and resources outside of just practices to be able to perform. And so what I say this all the time, and I might have said this on the podcast and I'll say it a million more times. So like, apologies that you're going to hear this a lot, people, but it's my favorite example. People will say, how do I get my senior leaders, my executives to help me understand that training alone is not going to be enough and that we've got to look at the entire system? And I'm like, great, let's talk about it. I will say, so you and I can both agree that Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time, right? And usually there'll be a chuckle. Sometimes there'll be an argument. But we at least have now aligned, right? Everyone. And like also shift, I recognize we have an international audience, shift this to the example, the sport of your choice. And if it's anywhere other than the US, it is football, so soccer. And so in that case, I'd probably say Cristiano Ronaldo as the example there. But anyway, go with me here with Tom Brady. So we'd chuckle, we would align, we would both be on the same level of understanding, right? I'm out of the academic world. I'm not talking about learning theory and science that they don't know or understand. And they're not talking about business and, EBITDA and, gross profit and net profit and all of those things. We are talking a language where we both understand football and what makes a player great. Okay. So we'll joke on that. And then I'll say, okay, so humor me here. Tom Brady went to one training one time, and that made him the greatest player of all time. And they're always like, no, Vanessa. And I'm like, all right, well, let's talk about it. What else did he have? Right? He had multiple training sessions, multiple practices. He played in a lot of games. So he got a lot of reps in. He had internal motivation. Like he was a 6th round draft pick. Like he had a chip on his shoulder and like everyone can agree on to that. Right. So he had that internal self-motivation to be the best. He had a great coach in Bill Belichick. He had other great coaches in the offensive line and all of that. I think it's an offensive coach. There we go. He had the guy that he worked with that was like, that would stretch him and stuff, his like business partner at some point, like he did all those dynamic stretching. He would practice in the off season. He had nutritionists. He had avocado ice cream. He had all of these things to help him perform at his top, to peak, to then earn seven Super Bowl championships. Recognizing your girl from Jersey is also understanding that the 2 that they lost were against the Giants, which is a rough thing to talk about. But anyway, also for those of you that watched the episode of my kids being here, you know that one of my daughters is named Giselle. See what we did there? My dog is named Gronk. We have a problem. And my other dog was named Brady. So you're learning a lot about me. But anyway, we talk. So me and this executive will kind of come to that conclusion. He's like, well, he had all of these things. Like you need all of these things in order to be the best, to ensure that when you are out there on the field and it is game time, you are prepared. You are going to elicit the behaviors needed to earn that championship. Because our end goal, right, our North Star metric, our level 4 result is getting and winning that Super Bowl championship and becoming the greatest franchise of all time. Okay. I'm like, great. I'm glad that we went through all of that. And then I say, so if it is good enough, it is okay and acceptable for Tom Brady to have all of that support, why are we not working on giving those same supports to our employees? Our employees need coaches. Our employees need that motivation, whether we are giving it to them through external rewards and recognition, or they have it internally. They need, their coaches, outside of just, actual coaches, they need manager support. They need the ability to get on that field and try. And they need reps. They need, this is going to take some time. That is the solution that we need. We don't just need the one training. The one training, yeah, we probably need something foundational. Sure. Just a level set. All right, I'll give you that. But that one training isn't going to be it. And usually at that point, like the light bulb goes off and it's like, all right, I've got to actually do some work. And I'm like, yeah, we've got to do a little bit of work on the organization. But imagine getting the organization right and the culture right. So then you're able to draft the best players, the best employees. What would that do to the business? What did it do for the Patriots? It got them the ability to draft Wes Welker, to get Aaron Hernandez, recognizing the challenges there, but he was a good player when he was good. Also was my favorite player I did go to a game and was the only one with an Aaron Hernandez jersey. I recognized how good he was before everyone else did. And then I sold it when everything came out. You're learning a lot about me through this series. Anyway, it gave him Gronk, right? Because you had, Jordan Mayo. Who was Vince. Vince, I can't remember Vince's last name. He was anyway, those teams, all those players, because the team all worked together and they were so good and they had the support they needed to do, just focus on what they needed to do is perform and do their job to achieve the results of the organization. Everyone wanted to be a Patriot. Everyone. Oh, the McCourty twins from Rutgers. Right. You get that when you are able to ensure your organization and your culture and the system in which you are deploying your people in is right. When it's not, you don't get the best of the best. And then it becomes harder. And then you just turn around and say, well, we need to train them better. Nah, you need a better system. The system is what makes or breaks the environment, your team, your culture. So I ask, how are you doing with your draft picks? Are you able to pick top first round? Or are you picking sixth round in hopes that they're going to be that transformative person? Are you doing any sort of assessment with your requests? How is this going to fit into the culture? How is this going to fit into the organization? Is this the right organization to do this work? Ask yourselves those questions. And I'd love to hear from you. Also, what is a current event out there that you've kind of thought about through the lens of workplace performance and learning? And let's have a topic and have a dialogue together online. Friends, thank you so much for joining me today on this very interesting episode. I hope I sounded smart enough to talk about the NFL draft. And I'll catch y'all on the next episode.